ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Around the Colosseum. It's your host, Erwin the Fourth. Erwin, how's your night going?
Johnny, so far so good. A little bit of traffic. This weather's a little funny, but we showed up. We are here.
I don't know about you, but I am excited for this Saturday, EPW Broken Dreams.
Yes, at the Southern Oak Rec Center. Bell time is at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30. I cannot wait. Seems like we got a pretty interesting card coming up this time.
We got a heck of a card coming up, and one thing you left out is, as usual, tickets are only $12.
Yeah, and we actually have a promotion right now with our partners at Ticket Storm. You can get 2 tickets for $20. So feel free to bring someone with you. Bring that significant other, or just bring another person that's a fan of wrestling.
If you're getting this early, you're on Patreon. Patreon members get comped tickets for just subscribing to Empire Pro Wrestling on Patreon.
There it is. Join the NPW Army.
Let's jump right into the card. Let's start with the CAPW Tag Team Championships, which, before we actually start talking about the match, let's see what one of the competitors had to say about their match.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's check this out.
I'm noticing a very crappy trend in Empire. It seems that no matter who you are or what you do, if you interfere in a match, you get a title shot. It seems that way. Dominic Whiteheart interfered in my match, and all of a sudden he's awarded with a spot to become a number one contender for the All-American Championship. For what? The man assaulted me. Yeah, I said assault because A, should never been there in the first place. B, who knows if he's licensed to even wrestle in Oklahoma? And C, where the hell's he been for a year? Not doing crap. So the last show, I saw Martin Justice get the same treatment. He got jumped, and no one was there to help him. I sat there realizing that Martin Justice and I shared that in common. Entitled pricks trying to force their way into a spot for some gold. So I did tell Martin, yeah, we're going to be the first CAPW Tag Team Champions. Another thing, why in the hell are we giving another or a new promotion time on Empire is beyond me. Ridiculous. The commissioner's not doing his job and enforcing rules, and so everyone is doing what the hell they want to do. Empire. So E-Bone, don't know you, I don't care to know you. But you will know who I am. Tyler Watts, I'm going to do something for you your dad should have done a long time ago. Whip your ass, leave you out in the ring, and stay backstage where you belong.
All right, it looks like Vega's a little pissed. Did you get that same thing?
Yeah, I mean, he makes some valid points. I mean, one of the things is this very match itself on the card. Why are we even having a CAPW tag title match on an EPW show? I mean, Tyler Watts has not been the most accommodating member of the CAPW roster.
And Evones was kicked out of the EPW.
Yeah. And again, this is not a good look for a commissioner who's actively trying to go for re-election.
Well, I mean, like Vega says in his promo, the commissioner's not doing his job, not enforcing the rules. So
yeah, and again, we're just trying to see how this goes. I mean, again, they do have something in common. Both of them seem to have had their matches ruined by outside interference, and those people went on to actually get title matches. So I can understand the frustration and them wanting to put people in their place. And again, he makes a valid point. Maybe he does have to do what he has to do to Tyler Watts that maybe Martin just couldn't do or won't do. But I think I find it odd to see a father and a son going together in the same match. I mean,
Tyler Watts and Martin Justice have fought before in last man standing matches, and Tyler busted his dad wide open. Tyler beat down his dad last month. Is it just disrespect or really not willing to give the ass whooping his son needs, as Vega wanted to put it?
And that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm all about the rebel youth and about causing a muck and everything. I'm a bit of a menace myself, in case you can't tell. But I mean, even I have a limit. And I'm sorry, as much as I love my kids, if Erwin the Fifth came at me like that, yeah, we're both getting busted open at this point in time. I just can't see him constantly rolling over like this.
although we haven't stated it, it's been alluded to. It's E-Bones and Tyler Watts versus Adrian Vega and Martin Justice for the CAPW Tag Team Championship. Vega wants to be the first tag champions for CAPW. If he does that, do you think we'll end up with more CAPW on Empire shows with two Empire guys defending titles?
I mean, if I was a member of the CAPW roster, I'd be a little upset that some outsiders are the inaugural champions to our titles, and I'd have a beef about it. And we don't know how many people are a member of it. We've now see that Ebone apparently has skin in the game, which is odd. And now we have Tyler Watts has skin in the game. Who else, was a former member or current member of the roster that probably has skin in this game?
Well, we know Junior Wynn, who's trying to become commissioner of Empire, is their authority figure, and he had Neshoba by him last month. So that's 4 people for the CAPW roster that we know of. Who knows how many more is laying in the wait, just waiting to turn on Empire or come in from another promotion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's still not counting all our fun that we got with Black Flag Rising. Heck, I wouldn't even be surprised if they're not a member of roster. It just seems like everybody is just having a field day with Empire right now. They're just using it as their personal playground.
I mean, speaking of somebody that's using Empire as a personal playground, Adrian Vega mentioned Dominic Whiteheart, who tagged him back in December, costing him a match by disqualification. Dominic's in a match for the All-American Championship #1 contender spot. And there is Mick Jonix, Dominic Whiteheart, Rick Russo, Duncan Kincaid, Tommy Toogood, Red James, and it's all for the #1 contender for the All-American Championship. What's your thoughts on this match and the participants within it?
I mean, it's basically anybody's guess as who could win this match. I mean, let Mitch tell it. He's the greatest ever made, so it's almost a done deal. I could see the Gold-Blooded Killers getting more gold added to their titles. However, I gotta feel like Vega wants Whiteheart to win so that he has one more reason to get his hands on Whiteheart. And at least this way he can do it for the title.
Oh, definitely. And you mentioned Mitch. Like, Mitch and Tommy Tugoods are both great athletes, and I can't wait to see those two just square off, even though there's multiple other men in the center of the ring, and see what they can do to claim their glory in that match.
Absolutely. Tommy Toogood put on a beautiful match against our heavyweight champion, Matigo Sika. So he definitely has shown that he's ready for that next level stage at the end of the day. Maybe this is how he gets his way into it, through the All-American title.
And then we got Red James in the match. Just last month, he was stripped of the internet television title. Now he's back as a #1 contender for another championship. I want to know what's going through the commissioner's head with that. Like, why are you going to strip this guy and create a new, or get new champions and add stipulations if he's just going to be booked to the next show,
Yep, this goes back to what I was talking about. Again, I understand that I'm just a referee, but there's rules to this thing. I mean, it's the thing that separates us from animals at the end of the day. And it seems like there is no one enforcing any of these punishments that are happening. I mean, Ebone was literally kicked out, and within 2 months he was back. And now you have Red James coming back after being stripped of the title, and let's not mention no call, no showed several times, and flat out was ignoring the commissioner's phone calls. And as a reward for that, then he shouldn't. I mean, maybe I shouldn't come into work, and I'll get a title shot at this point in time. Maybe I'll actually get a contract.
I mean, that's a possibility. You could just jump somebody in a match like Vegas said and get your own championship title match,
Yeah. I mean, this is just, I don't understand what the method is to the madness. And I'm going to see if I can get a word with the commissioner and see if we can get some more understanding, because it really does. Vega makes a good point. It seems like the inmates are running the asylum here, which again brings me back to Mitch Onyx, in this match. If Mitch Onyx is there, you can pretty much guarantee our favorite manager is going to be there, and Guy Sterling, and the rest of the Gold-Blooded Killers. So is it going to be just Mitch in this match, or do we have to imagine Romeo Reese is going to be somewhere to be found, or even our heavyweight champion?
Well, our champion has his own match that night. But you bring up Guy Sterling and the Gold-Blooded Killers. Rick Russo's also in that match, who is a tag team partner, or is tag team partners with Kevin Sanchez. Kevin and the Gold-Blooded Killers got their own beef going. Is Rick going to focus on Mitch Onyx, or is Kevin going to be out there to back him up if the rest of the gold-blooded killers is there?
And we still haven't heard on what's going on with Kevin at this point. Maybe we can get with Rick and try to find out, because that's what I find interesting. Does Rick even care about the All American Championship? Because if I was him, I just want to get my hands on anybody from the Gold Blooded Killers. I mean, at this point, we don't know what's going on with his partner because he got hit in the face with a fireball. I mean, someone has to pay for that.
Kevin, once he's healed, is going to get his own receipt for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then that leaves our special guest referee last month, Duncan Kincaid, who had a hand in BMF losing those titles. So Rick Russo's, attention is going to be a little bit split. So I'm actually curious to see, I mean, who here really only cares about the All-American Championship, and who else is just using this championship match as a reason to settle some grudges?
I mean, isn't that what any championship match should be, is settling grudges?
This is true, but this one here is just chaos at the end of the day. I think Red James is about the only one who isn't coming in with beef already, outside of beef with the commissioner.
I mean, he may have that chip on the shoulder that he was stripped for one title, now he wants to go for another.
So here's the question. Let's say he does win the match. Are we going to see him, or are we going to do this all over again and it's rinse and repeat?
I mean, the commissioner wants them defended every 30 days, so who knows?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting match. I mean, I can't wait to see the fallout of it.
Another match that's going to be interesting, Ozzy Hendricks versus Wolf of War in a chairs match.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting match, because last we remember we saw the Wolf of War. It was the very chair that took him out, and we haven't heard from him in a while. And I don't think Ozzy's ever really got his answers as to why the betrayal. So we don't know if somebody's going to beat it out of him or what, but I'm curious to see what Wolf of War's mind state is going to be coming back.
I think both of them are going to be set on revenge, and it's going to be a brutal match. I don't know if they're going to get bloody or not, but chairs and steel is not good for the skin.
Yeah. This is going to be an interesting match to watch. If it's anything like I've seen Ozzy have his other matches, when his mind's set on something, he's a whole different person.
And yes, he's set on revenge.
Especially when weapons are involved.
Going on to somebody that we thought was replacing Wolf of War and the Psychotic Messengers, but he just added the numbers. Jack Talos has a match against Leo Fox and Badger James for the AIWF American Championship. Now, Leo Fox hasn't been in Empire since August when he faced EC3. Badger James, member of the Black Flag. Jack Talos, Psychotic Messengers, who have beef with Black Flag. Is Leo somehow going to be a bystander in this feud, or is he going to just insert himself and take out both people? Because Leo's a member of the NWA Exodus roster.
Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not an active wrestler, but I'm a bit of a strategist myself. If I was Leo Fox, I would look at this like I was in the catbird seat. I mean, at this point in time, you have to imagine Jack Talos is going to try to eat Badger James alive. I mean, they've already met at Nuclear Warfare, so I can only imagine what's going to happen when they see each other again. If I was Leo Fox, I'd just wait until it was my time, get the 1, 2, 3, and just take the title. They're going to be too busy beating each other up.
Wouldn't you just want to get in there and throw some people around if you're Leo Fox?
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, the man definitely doesn't get paid by the hour. I don't think he can just sit there and watch too often. The person I really feel the most for in this match, unfortunately, is Badger James. I mean, he's going to get destroyed, it just seems like, compared to the other two opponents. He has an X factor, and as much as I hate to admit it, he's got Black Flag Rising. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to be looking for him, because it seems like every time I see one of them, I see all of them in the ring. I'm going to make sure I let them know that I'm not for it this go round. We're going to make sure we have a nice, clean fight.
But whereas Badger has the Black Flag, Talos has the Messengers. The only one on his own, just with his manager, is Leo Fox. And he just has Mike out there.
This is true. I mean, at this point in time, he's kind of the lone wolf. He's kind of all by himself out there. he may be still in the best seat if he can time it right during all of that chaos. I can see him doing something. However, the numbers game's also not in his favor. So I can also see him being at a complete disadvantage. Because especially with what's going on right now in the promotion, you kind of need to have somebody to have you back.
It's a dangerous time in the Empire.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not getting paid enough for this at this point in time. We're dangerously close to this being a hostile work environment.
I mean, it's wrestling. It's all hostile.
Well, this is true, but this is on another level what we got going on here. I mean, here's a good example. We're trying to figure out chaos. We've got Gemini and Shadow Gemini taking on Talos's fellow members in the Psychotic Messengers. They're going against Black Flag Rising, which is Anarchy and Ghoul, Fated Ghoul, and the Saints of Pro Wrestling, all for the EPW Tag Team Championships.
And like, how's Shadow Gemini and Gemini going to work together?
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand. 1 minute they hate each other, 1 minute they seem to be friends. It is in 1 minute Ebone has a problem with Shadow Gemini. I just can't seem to understand what's going on. The Messengers are now going back into the tag team titles, but we still got a sure shot briefcase in Malachi. So where's his head at during all of this?
Well, Tank Bryson's also the Internet Television Championship. Both the Messengers that's in this match have individual titles.
And then that leaves us with Black Flag Rising and Faded Ghoul. And I believe this is his debut in EPW, is it not?
I think he was there last month, but this is his first match. And I'm just going to go ahead and deem them Ghoulish Anarchy. Because, I mean, Faded Ghoul, Anarchy, Ghoulish Anarchy, that's an awesome name. They can pay me for the rights
I can see it. I can see it. It's like a separate subsection of the Black Flag Rise, and I can understand it.
Exactly.
I can understand it.
The NWO had the Outsiders of Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Flag is now, thanks to me, been given Ghoulish Anarchy.
Well, you make sure you introduce that name to him. I don't want to be the person to do that. Now, the Saints of Pro Wrestling are going to also be picking up the anchor in this. They're the fourth team that's in this match. I'm kind of curious to see, how they feel about this after just winning the titles have to be put into a fatal four-way.
Fatal four-way seems to be their bread and butter. That's how they seem to do most of their matches, either that or with some form of advantage. So I think they're going to be right at home with it. It's just going to be how are they going to manipulate it to their advantage, and they're going to be looking and waiting for the proper time.
Think past them. Who do you have for the match?
I think I'm going to go with Ghoulish Anarchy since I'm giving them a name.
Okay, Ghoulish Anarchy. All right, I could see that. I'm going for the Messengers, not rooting for them or anything like that, but I just feel like they've got some skin in this game. They went out, grabbed some individual titles, and I can see them using that to kind of get their head right. And now they're coming back together as a tag team. That's some serious momentum on their side.
And now we caught up with Father Padge just a little bit ago, and we're going to insert a clip of that in just a moment. Father Padge is going to be out there with Bishop Simon, formerly known as Jason Simon, and Trench Blythe.
Unhinged Jason Simon.
Adjectives, they don't matter.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, who do you have in that match? Bishop Simon or Trench Blythe?
Again, it's going to be hard to say because based on what I see Father Padge has done with Bishop Simon, he says we're going to have a whole different person. If it's going to be anything like him, I mean, Bishop Simon definitely didn't look unhinged when he was standing behind Father Padge. So he definitely seems like he's a lot more calm, cool, and collected. However, the numbers game is what worries me. Again, if you've got Trench, you've got the rest of Black Flag. So how are you going to do that? That's you're going to 2 on one side versus 4 on the other. That's going to be really interesting. But again, let's see. I mean, we had an interview with him. Let's see exactly what he has to say about him. Let's ask him.
Welcome, Father Padge, to Around the Colosseum. You just recently took on a disciple, Jason Simon. How's that going?
Jason is learning a lot that he needed to learn. Still has a lot to go, but there's a different Jason that will be there on February 17th at Empire Pro Wrestling. I promise you've never seen anyone like this. It just
Well,
sucks that I had to do it the way I had to do it.
well, if he's a different man, is he gonna break his losing streak when he faces Trench Blythe?
I've explained this before, but I'll do it again. Honestly, the reason he has a losing streak is because who did he keep fighting?
A man who is it 4 years and you've only had 3 defeats?
I've been there 8 years and I've lost twice.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
heck of a.
one of those was Jason's fault. But I gave him his receipt on that one, trust me. Listen, that's why he was losing. He had the ability. You saw what he could do. He took me to my limit a couple of times. But what's my limit? Come on.
I mean, I've not been there as long as you, Father Padge, so I'm not sure what your limits could be. I don't know how far you will go for a win. I mean,
You don't? You didn't see what I did? I took 3 curb stomps from him.
I saw it. Yes, good, good. I saw it up close and personal, and I can tell you, I mean, the man was unstoppable.
There wasn't a soul beating me that night. That's
I
just
mean,
that's just the facts.
I've seen the curb stomps you took. One of them was even from a middle rope. But is that saying where you're saying you can kind of draw the line as your limit is the 3 curb stomps, or are you saying you can go more? And if you say you're going more, that's what I say is I don't know that limit.
Obviously, I can go more. I got up from all 3 of those. And then I kicked him in his face. I placed my foot upon his chest and manifested his destiny.
Right.
And when you were there, you saw it. He wasn't going anywhere after that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did.
He asked me right there in the middle of the ring to join me, didn't he?
Yes, sir. Now, I do have an interesting question about that match, though. It seemed like when you guys went outside the ring, there was a bit of a interference where we got treated to some people, and you looked like you didn't want the help.
I didn't need the help. I've been telling that man who calls himself my father, see him burn him, to stay the hell away from me. I mean, what do I got to do to even get that message across at this point? Do I have to physically assault that man? Again? That's what started all this crap. The best thing for everybody is for him to just stay where he's at, me stay where I'm at. As long as he stays away from me, I've got no problem. But putting your nose in my business when I'm trying to take on someone and educate them when I don't need your help, well, it's uncalled for. So if anything you want to call that motivation, yeah, that motivated me more because the last thing that Jason actually needs is advice from someone like that.
Speaking of Jason, we saw recently that you released a new video with him talking about his transformation. The last video that we had on our Instagram page kind of showed you, let's say, transporting him to his readiness training, if you will. Um, what all transpired in that time? Because this looks like a totally different person. He doesn't look nowhere near as unhinged as he claims he was.
He might have been unhinged, but that's not what I need. I don't need someone crazy or unhinged. I need someone with his abilities that can focus and carry on the work that I do. And the work that I do is lessons through pain and punishment. And my new hand in punishment is my disciple of destruction. And we're not going to call him Jason Simon anymore. All right? He's now Bishop Simon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My apologies. I
No,
was
you're
actually
okay.
going
You
to bring
didn't know
that up.
but now you know. He is learning the dark arts that I know, training that I've been bestowed for years now. I can finally pass that on to someone worthy of learning it. And I felt like that it was him for a long time. Because look how hard he came at me. And I'm the most dangerous dude on that roster.
Last month when Kevin Sanchez got hit in the face by the fireball, you and Jason were one of the guys that came out to check on him. What was going through your mind when that happened?
I had just been speaking to Kevin right before that. And we had talked, and we used to have a lot of problems with each other. And we don't anymore. He was man enough to come up and talk to me, so I gave him enough time to hear what he had to say. We talked it out. We were fine. And then immediately that happened. So I felt like he knew I was right there. He probably knew I saw it. So what kind of person would I be to accept his apologies or not even apologies, but like his man-to-man talk, and then do nothing about something like that. I'm not that kind of person.
Now, he has a match now against Trench Blight of Black Flag Rising coming up, and it's no secret that Black Flag Rising has been a little bit unhinged too, for lack of a better term, with the way they've been running amok throughout the company. Is there anything that you're going to do differently? Are we going to see a completely different Jason Simon? I'm sorry, excuse me, Bishop Simon. My apologies. Are we going to see a new Bishop Simon? Um, Whole different mindset, whole different attitude. How's he going to be able to deal with that? Because we already know that if Trench is going to be there, we can assume that the rest of Black Flag Rising is going to be there as well.
Well, you got to think about this. Jason only ever had one thing on his mind for almost a year. That's now no longer an issue. He can now focus on something more obtainable. And with my help, it's almost impossible for him not to get it.
Interesting. Are
Look
you
at my
guys looking
past.
at some point competing in tag team competition? Or are you just having Bishop Simon work his way through the singles division?
If it comes to that, if I feel like I need to bring some more gold back to the mission of the Almighty, then yeah, definitely. But right now, I'm focused on making him a better person and helping him realize his true potential. And he's doing it. You just watch. Trench Black. I've been in the ring with Trench Black. He's a hell of a competitor. And I'm telling you this, you might as well be fighting a smaller version of me come next Saturday. And it ain't pretty. You guys have seen the way I work. And I'm not even done with this guy yet. Just wait.
And is it safe to say you're going to be out there at the corner of Bishop Simon?
I'd be a pretty bad teacher if I didn't go out there with him at least the first couple of times, right?
Well, I couldn't understand because, again, with the ministry, I'm not sure I'm still learning everything, but I could have actually seen him as just trial by fire.
All right, now that we've got what Padge has to say about that, let's keep the show rolling. Let's talk about Gatekeeper versus Neshoba. Neshoba was part of that beatdown to Martin Justice last month, and Gatekeeper was in the Call Your Shot ladder match, and he had another match that I can't remember who he was against, but I'm kind of rooting for Gatekeeper here. He seems to have that unstable quality to him that where you don't quite know what he's capable of. Of course, I haven't seen him much, so I really don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah. Last time we saw Gatekeeper, I believe he lost his last match. But he definitely seemed like he was trying to change his attitude about it. So I'm actually looking to see that this will be my first time watching Neshoba and seeing what he can do. But again, I have to wonder where's Cap W going to be at during all of this.
Most of what I've seen with the tag specialists with Native Law and Sheriff Soul says is it will be interesting to see how he does against Gatekeeper. It's going to be in a way, a proving match for both of these young men.
Let's talk about Mayfield and the Prince, Romeo Reese.
Yeah, this was a match seemingly set up last month with Cam, who I still don't know who he is. Neither does the fans. I guess he's just some guy startling cosplayer. But
I don't get it.
It's going to be one of those matches that Malik is a hard hitter and Reese has gold-blooded killers. I don't know who to root for in this match.
No. This is going to be interesting. Like I said, if they can keep it just between them two, it'll be an interesting one-on-one match. However, I'm pretty sure that it's not going to stay that way and it's going to be chaotic. So I'm actually curious to see what Guy has to say about this.
Yeah, I feel like the story for this match is not inside the ring between the two competitors, but outside the ring between the two managers.
Absolutely. And it just seems like the other guys are just caught up in the crossfire. Let's talk about our main event.
Let's go. I was just trying to find the notes of what the main event was.
Ray Leon versus Montego Sika for the EPW Heavyweight Championship.
No doubt. I've not met this Ray Leon. I've not seen him. I know Sika does whatever it takes to win, and he's talented, so he doesn't have to stoop to the lows that he does. But it's going to be, if Kevin Sanchez is good, is he going to play a role in this match?
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you say that because I saw the latest video on Leon, And even Guy Sterling, if you actually took the time to listen to that video, even Guy Sterling had to give him his props. It almost seemed like he wanted Leon actually at one point to be a member of the Gold Blooded Killers. So there's definitely some respect there. I'll say it was more respect than when he gave Tommy Too Good. So there's definitely something in there. Now, you do make a point. Sika has a way of always coming up with the W by any means necessary. So we have to wonder exactly how this is going to turn out. I don't see Sika doing anything to part with that gold anytime soon.
Right. And even if Guy's talking up Leon, you're not going to be like, oh, yeah, this guy is just some Joe Schmo from the pub down the street. Like, even if it's a Gilbert against a Goldberg, like, you're still going to hype up your opponent just so that you look strong in defeating them. It's classic psychology. You see it all the time on TV.
No. That actually does make sense at the end of the day. But again, based on the videos I saw of Leon, and I did some research on him, he looks like the real deal. He may give Sika a run for his money.
Well, I'm glad you did some research for the show. I've been busy doing other stuff, unfortunately. That cruise really just took a lot from me. It takes some recovery from the Jericho cruise and all those awesome events. So, I mean, the only thing left to say is see you at Broken Dreams in Oklahoma City at the the Southern Oaks Recreation Center, February 17th, 2024. Doors at 6. You want to leave us with anything, Erwin?
Yeah. Hey, like I said, thank you to all our Patreon subscribers. Those of you who are watching on our YouTube channel, again, feel free to subscribe to our Patreon if you want this earlier and exclusive videos as well. Other than that, we'll see you guys next time when we find out what's going on around the Colosseum.